This is IS 13920-2016, that is ductile design and detailing of reinforced concrete structure subjected to the seismic forces. So here the some terminologies is given for the building and for as per the seismic forces that you can see from this part. Definition of beam. So these are the members, generally horizontal, of moment resisting frames with flexural and shearing action, that is bending and shearing both. Then column definition. These are the members, generally vertical, of moment resisting frame with axial flexure and shearing action. Cover concrete. It is that concrete which is not confined by transverse reinforcement. Boundary elements. These are the portion along the ends of the structural wall that are strengthened by longitudinal and transverse reinforcement. They may have the same thickness as that of the boundary element. This is the wall element, structural wall element having the longitudinal or transverse reinforcement. In terms of column also they can consider. Then transverse reinforcement means stirrup to resist the shear force. It is a continuous bar having 135-degree angle, hook angle, with an extension of 6 times diameter at one end and a hook not less than 90-degree with an extension of 6 times diameter at the other end. So this one is the angle of stirrup. Suppose this is the beam element, cross section. These are the reinforcement at bottom, reinforcement at top, then stirrup reinforcement are connecting the top and bottom reinforcement with this angle, right? So this angle from here to here, this angle should be 135-degree angle, and it is mentioned that with an extension of 6 times diameter. So this extension part 6 times diameter of stirrup. So these two criteria is there for the ductile detailing code for the stirrup angle and the extension part. Then gravity columns in building. It is a column which is not part of the lateral load resisting system and designed only for force action, that is axial force, shear force and bending moment and due to gravity, but it should be able to resist gravity load at lateral displacement imposed by the earthquake force. So this is the term which is known as gravity column. So column is a vertical element, and as per earthquake point of view, the column is the element which will resist the lateral forces due to earthquake force or wind force. So if your column is designed only for the gravity load that we did in the DOS 1 and DOS 2, only for the gravity load condition, if the column is designed, that column is known as gravity column, because that will have only the vertical force in terms of axial, shear and bending. No additional force in terms of lateral force is acting on the column. That's why it is known as gravity column. Then lateral force resisting system. It is that part of structure system which participate in resisting forces induced by the earthquake. So beam, column, slab, all these are the footing, all these are the structural element, and the structure element or the system which will resist the earthquake force, that system or that member is known as lateral force resisting member or lateral force resisting system. Then moment resisting frame. This is a simple, it is a three-dimensional structural system composed of interconnected member Without structural wall, only the frame is there, no wall is there. So as no structural wall is there, so as to function as a complete self-containing unit with or without the aid of horizontal diaphragm or floor bracing system. Right, so this is the moment resisting frame. Then the another term is special moment resisting frame. It is a moment resisting frame with the slab, beam, column, footing, specially detailed to provide ductile behavior as per requirement specified in 5, 6, 7, 8. And one another term is there, ordinary moment resisting frame. There are two terms. Moment resisting frame is a three-dimensional structural system having all the structural component interconnected with each other without the structural wall. That frame is known as moment resisting frame. So simple, if this is the moment resisting frame, I mean frame of a building, three-dimensional, here it is mentioned with two dimensions, and this is called as the moment resisting frame. Now if there are two term, ordinary moment resisting frame and special moment resisting frame. So in this case, in ordinary moment resisting frame, it is a moment resisting frame not meeting special detailing requirement for ductile behavior. Means in this ordinary moment resisting frame, only the design by IS 456 is applicable. Only design by IS 456 is applicable for ordinary moment resisting frame. So whatever building design you have done by IS 456, that is gravitational load only, then that term as moment resisting frame. But if you are designing your building with IS 456 along with IS 13920 and IS 1893, that is earthquake, then that frame is known as a special moment resisting frame. Right, so this is the difference between moment resisting plus ordinary and special. Here the design is done by only IS 456, and here the influence of 13920 and 1893 will be there. Then link member, it is a single steel bar bent into a closed loop having 135-degree with extensor of 6. So this is called as transverse reinforcement also, and link also in steel in beam design. Then shear wall, or it is known as structural wall also. It is a vertically oriented planar elementary that is preliminary designed to resist lateral force effect in its own plane. Right, so this structural wall or shear wall is specifically designed to resist the lateral force, that is the earthquake force only. Right, this wall is not designed for gravitational force. So if the load path mechanism is slab to beam, beam to column, column to footing, so that load path mechanism is not applicable for the shear wall, because shear wall will have the or will resist the load of earthquake force only, lateral force only. So that is the only specific design given for the structure wall to resist the earthquake force in its own plane. In its own plane means in its stronger direction. We'll discuss this part later on when we'll deal with the lateral load forces calculation. Then you will see that how the shear wall orientation is most important for the lateral resisting element itself, because if you change the orientation of shear wall, then the meaning why it is provided that will not serve. So that is the case that you need to see at the time of calculation when we'll deal with the lateral forces calculation. Then special shear wall. Special shear wall means it is a structural wall meeting special detail requirement for ductile behavior specified in 10. So here this shear wall, simple shear wall is designed as per IS 456, right? But if you incorporate 13920 code, ductile detailing code also in design of shear wall, then that shear wall is known as special shear wall. Right. So these are the some terminology that you need to keep in mind when deal with the earthquake force. These are the some symbols and all. Okay, now here we are starting with the general specification for this code. So that general specification is the design and construction of reinforced concrete building shall govern by provision of IS 456. Means for the 13920 application, the base should have the provision of IS 456. Means you need to do your member design as per IS 456 first, and then after you can apply the application of IS 13920 for the earthquake force. Then this minimum grade of structural concrete shall be M20 grade. So as per this 13920 code, the minimum grade of concrete for the structural member should be M20 and minimum M25 for more than 15-meter height in seismic zone 3, 4 and 5. As we discussed in last session also, what is seismic zone and how the seismic zone is divided in India, that is zone 2, 3, 4, 5. Then if you are dealing with any building which is in zone 3, 4, 5 and having height more than 15 meter, then for the structural member the minimum grade of concrete should be M25 and but not less than that required by IS 456 based on exposure condition. Here one more clause is there that if you are dealing with IS 456, right, where you have consider grade of concrete is M20, but as per the exposure condition that is given in 456, if you want to upgrade your grade of concrete, then you can do as per this clause number. Then this is about the grade of concrete. Then here 5.3.1 steel reinforcement use shall be of grade Fe 415 or less. Now the maximum grade of steel as per 13920 is Fe 415 or less. Fe 415 or less means HYSD bar Fe 415 or less you can use as per 13920. The reason behind that is as we discussed in design part that the grade of the steel you can consider as mild steel or HYSD. Now this mild steel is Fe 250 and here HYSD is Fe 415, Fe 550, 450, Fe 500, 550 and so on. So this is the grade of HYSD bar. Now as per 13920, as per earthquake point of view, the maximum grade of steel should be Fe 415 maximum, not more than Fe 415. The reason behind that is you are dealing with the earthquake force. Right, you are dealing with the earthquake force. Later on you will see that when the earthquake comes onto the structure will start oscillating. The structure will start oscillating. And that structure, when the structure start oscillating, the structure which is oscillating during the earthquake, then the structure again make or step back at their own position. Right, so once if this is a single story building, single story frame, right, and if the earthquake force come, lateral force come, means horizontal force come, then this structure will move like this, right, and due to this force, after removing this force, the structure will regain its position, right. So due to this force, the structure will complete one full cycle of oscillation. The structure will complete one full cycle of oscillation, and that full cycle of oscillation is known as time period of the structure. Means time required for the structure to oscillate from one place to other place and from other place to again at the same place. So that is called the oscillation of the structure due to earthquake force, and that full cycle is known as uh, time period of the structure. Right, so let me show you that behavior of the structure. So that let me so here, yes, this is the experiment of pendulum. Right, consider this the first position of this pendulum as your building, and as soon as the force will come, the building start oscillating, and that oscillation is taking place. This is the initial force that is given to the structure, and that building start oscillating. Due to that oscillation, due to the movement of the structure start from one point, and that will again reach to the next point, right? So the structure which is passing from one point again back to the original point, that time is known as time period of the structure, right? So this pendulum is also doing the same thing, that it is starting from one point again coming back to the same point. So that time taken by the structure to pass from one point to uh, again back to that particular point or the original point, that point is known as time period of the structure. So this time period of the structure is depend on the height of the building, right? So as soon as the height of the building is more height of the building, the time taken by the structure is more. Time taken by the structure is more, and as the height of the structure is less, time taken by the structure will be less, right? So as the time is more, that structure is the known as it's the time period is more, that structure is known as tall structure, and here this known as short structure, tall structure and short structure, right? Also this tall structure is your flexible structure, and this is the short structure is your rigid structure, right? For the earthquake point of view, we need to provide, or we need to make structure as more ductile. We need to make our structure more ductile, means more flexible, right? मैंने आपको बताया था लास्ट में स्ट्रेंथ, stiffness, then strength, stiffness, configuration, and flexibility. The design is done on these four bases: strength, stiffness, flexibility, and configuration. So we need to make our structure more flexible, not the stiff one, right? So if you use the grade of steel more than Fe415, so this is ferrous iron. So more the grade, more the steel, more will be the carbon content. More will be the carbon content, and more carbon content will lead your steel to make the stiffer one. And if you use that stiffer steel, that will not give your structure as a flexible structure, or the structure which can resist the earthquake force, right? So the maximum value for the grade of steel is Fe415, because more than that the grade of the steel is having more carbon content to make the higher grade of steel, and that more carbon content will lead to the stiffen the structure steel, and that stiffen structure steel will not give the ductile behavior of the structure itself. Ductility कम होगी उसके अंदर, क्यों? Because that will give the more stiffen structure but not the ductile one. हमें ductile structure चाहिए. Why ductile? Because ductile will have the the beauty of elasticity. So we need to make our structure more elastic, और वो more elasticity के लिए the maximum grade of steel is 415. Minimum you can use, I mean you can use Fe250 also, but not more than Fe415. So that is given over here. Then off grade Fe500 and 550, that is high strength deformed steel bar produced by thermomechanical treatment process having elongation more than 14.5% and conforming to IS 1786. This IS 1786 is the code for the steel, itself. So from that code you need to see if you are using Fe415, Fe500 and 550, then elongation means deflection of the steel due to the applied load, that should be more than 14.5%. Then you can use you can use that steel for the earthquake point of view. Then the actual 0.2% proof strength, as we have seen in a stress versus strain diagram of steel, the 0.2% of proof strength of steel bar based on tensile test must not exceed the characteristic 0.2% proof strengthened by more than 20%. So this one is also one of the requirement for that case. Then for the steel itself, then the ratio of the actual ultimate strength to the actual 0.2% of proof strength shall be at least 1.15. So whenever you are dealing with the earthquake force, and if you are using any of the steel Fe 250 or Fe 415, you must follow all these criteria. You must follow all these criteria. Then these two also there. One is in RC frame building, lintel beam shall preferably not be integrated into the columns to avoid short column effect. So you will see in theory part also long column and short column concept as per earthquake point of view, and this is the uh, this one is the clause where it is mentioned that whenever you have lintel beam, suppose this is your building and this is your lintel level, right here this is your lintel level, then the lintel beam shall not preferably not be integrated into the column to avoid the short column effect. So here if you have provided any beam, then it will not integrated into this column. Otherwise what will happen, the actual height of the column is this much, but if you integrated into that, then this column is divided into two parts, the first one part and second one part, and this part of the column will behave like a short column, and if the column is short column, then that will easily fail into the compression. So this is you will see from the earthquake tips uh, uh, by IIT IIT Bombay. So from that earthquake tips you can get this concept what is short column effect as per earthquake point of view, and that will be covered by Bhargav sir. So to avoid this condition, this will not integrate it. Then RC regular moment resisting frame building shall have planar frames oriented along the two principal plant direction of the building. Irregularities listed in IS 1896 shall be avoided. This we will see later on when we will deal with the 1893 code, that is earthquake force calculation code, and there the some irregularities are there, because for the earthquake point of view your structure should maximum preferably your structure should be in regular plan or symmetrical building, but not in symmetrical or unsymmetrical or irregular building. But if it is there, then how to protect that building from the earthquake point of view, that we will see in 1893 code itself, so that part we'll skip over here. Then buildings with any of the listed irregularity perform poorly during earthquake shaking. In addition, building with floating column and setback column also perform poorly. These two term also you will see from Bhargav sir's lecture, that what is the floating column. Floating column is the column which is not uh, uh, constructed from the footing. Additional column is provided in any of the floor which is not having the footing throughout the height or at the bot or at the ground surface. The column which is not originated from the ground surface, ground footing, is known as floating column. So floating column sometimes for the architecture point of view, or sometimes if you want to support one of the intermediate floor, then in that case if someone has put the floating column, means the column is not required at below floors, but it is required for some particular floor, and if you have casted, then that column is not good for the earthquake point of view, because the failure for that particular column chances will be there compared to the column which is originate from the bottom to top. And setback columns, those setback column means column which is having higher width at bottom, lower at the top, or higher at the top, lower at the bottom. So this is called the setback column and setback columns, right? So this all uh, will not perform good during the earthquake force. So this is called the irregularity, or some the element which is not going to provide for the earthquake point of view. So this part you will see in your theory part. Then when any such irregularities are adopted, detailed non-linear analysis shall be performed to demonstrate that there is no threat to loss of life and property. In any worst condition, if you have to provide this all irregularity for your building, then you must go with the non-linear analysis. Again, what is non-linear analysis? What is linear analysis? What is time history analysis? What is response spectrum analysis? All this term we will see when we'll start with 1893 code. That I will explain you how the building is analyzed and what is linear and what is non-linear analysis. Right. So this is all about the grade of concrete and grade of steel. Uh, Let us start with the beam. Beam means the beam which you have designed by IS 456. Right, and you want to check whether the design by IS 456 is uh, applicable for earthquake point of view or not, that we are going to check from this particular clause. Right, so which are the clauses given for beam design for 13920, that we are going to see from here. The very first clause is 6.1.1. Beam shall preferably have width to depth ratio of more than 0.3. Width to depth ratio, B by D ratio should more than B by D ratio more than 0.3. So if you have designed your beam for IS 456 and you have B and D of that section, then you need to see whether this B and D provided having the ratio more than 0.3 or not for the comparison with the 13920 code. So we'll do some example to check all this, but these are the clauses that first we discuss and then after we'll do one small example. Then beam shall have width less than 200 mm. This I have discussed in design part also, that the width of the beam minimum 200 mm is provided. So that is the beam width. Then beam shall not have depth capital D more than 1/4 of the clear span. So this is one of the clause that the depth of the beam capital D should not have more than 1/4 of the clear span. So this also you need to check for your beam. Right. Now this 6.1.4 we will see later on when we'll deal with the example. 6.1.4 clause that we will see later on when we deal with the code example. Then next is 6.2 longitudinal reinforcement, means the reinforcement which is provided at tension side. Right, so this reinforcement we are talking about. So the longitudinal reinforcement beam shall be as given below. Beam shall have at least two 12 mm diameter bar each at top and bottom faces. So this is the one of the requirement, that when you are dealing with IS 456 and 13920 both, then your beam cross section should have at least two reinforcement at top, two reinforcement at bottom, and minimum diameter as 12 mm. So two top and two bottom reinforcement, but minimum 12 mm diameter at least. So if you have designed by IS 456 and if you have provided the diameter as 8 mm or 10 mm, as I explained in design also, that beam minimum dia of uh, beam reinforcement is 12 mm. Right. Then minimum longitudinal steel ratio. minimum longitudinal steel ratio. This is the equation given to find the minimum percentage steel PT minimum for beam as per 13920. Right, so if you have done IS 456 design, and from IS 456 design, if your PT value you are getting this PT value, you need to compare with IS 13920, this equation, and you need to check whether that is satisfying with this minimum criteria or not. If not, then you need to provide at least this percentage steel in your beam that you have done for by the IS 456. Then same way, maximum longitudinal steel provided on any face at any section is 0.0025. So here the maximum steel PT maximum is 0.0025. Right. So this is the maximum requirement of the steel. Then these are the detailing point of view, drawing point of view. These three clause 6.2.3, 6.2.4 and 6.2.5 is when you are drawing the beam reinforcement. आपने डिजाइन कर लिए, लेकिन जब आप ड्राइंग करते हो, then how, which parameter you need to keep in mind as per 13920, as per earthquake point of view in your beam, to make your beam more resistant towards the lateral force. तो ये उसके लिए clause है. So first clause is longitudinal steel on bottom face of beam framing into column. Longitudinal steel means lengthwise जो steel है ये ऐसा, this length reinforcement on bottom face of beam, मतलब bottom में जो main reinforcement अगर आपने provide किया है तो ये main reinforcement की बात चल रही है. So if this is your lengthwise view of your beam, then we are talking about this bottom face longitudinal reinforcement bar. Shall be at least half the steel on its top face at the same section. उसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Longitudinal steel on bottom face of beam framing into column, मतलब ये reinforcement की बात चल रही है. Shall be at least half the steel on its top face at the same section. तो यहाँ पे ये जो reinforcement है कितना होना चाहिए? हाफ द स्टील. कॉलम में जो reinforcement जा रहा है वो कितना होना चाहिए? एटलीस्ट हाफ द स्टील ऑन इट्स टॉप फेस एट द सेम सेक्शन. मतलब कि सपोज यहाँ पे कोई स्टील है टॉप में, ठीक है. सपोज आपने कर्टाइलमेंट किया बॉटम का, तो ये मैंने बॉटम का कर्टाइलमेंट किया. ये है हमारा सपोज कॉलम, ठीक है. सपोज ये थे मेरे 6 नंबर्स ऑफ बार्स, ये मेरे 6 नंबर ऑफ बार थे. मैंने कर्टेल किया 2 बार, तो यहाँ पे हो गए मेरे 4 नंबर्स ऑफ बार कॉलम के अंदर. तो ये क्लॉज क्या है? फिर ये जो मेरे बार है टॉप के, तो टॉप के मेरे बार है सपोज के 4 नंबर्स, बराबर, जो मैंने थ्रू आउट प्रोवाइड किए हैं. तो ये क्लॉज का मतलब क्या है? दिस इज जनरली फॉर डबली रेनफोर्स बीम, बिकॉज उसमें आपके कंप्रेशन के रेनफोर्समेंट ज़्यादा आते हैं. एटलीस्ट shall be at least half the steel on its top face at the same section. मतलब कि जो रेनफोर्समेंट कॉलम के अंदर जा रहे हैं वो रेनफोर्समेंट एटलीस्ट हाफ होने चाहिए. कहाँ पे हाफ होने चाहिए? जो भी आप सेक्शन लेते हो. सपोज आपने यहाँ पे सेक्शन लिया, तो यहाँ पे जो सेक्शन लिया तो ऊपर रेनफोर्समेंट 4 है, तो 4 के हाफ एटलीस्ट होने चाहिए वही सेक्शन में बॉटम के रेनफोर्समेंट. 4 का हाफ क्या हुआ? 2. तो 2 रेनफोर्समेंट बॉटम रेनफोर्समेंट में होने चाहिए जो कॉलम के अंदर जा रहे हो. तो यहाँ पे 4 का हाफ होगा 2, दो, यहाँ पे 4 नंबर है, सो दिस क्लॉज इज सेटिस्फाइड। ठीक है, सेम वे सपोज आपने यहाँ पे क्रॉस सेक्शन लिया है, सेम, सॉरी यहाँ पे नहीं, सेम वे सपोज आपने कर्टेल यहाँ से 6 के 4 और सपोज मैंने यहाँ पे भी कुछ कर्टेल किया था, तो 4 का मेरा यहाँ पे हो गया है, एक मैंने और कर्टेल किया तो 3 नंबर। ये थोड़ा फिगर मेरा वो हो गया है कंजेस्टेड, बट सपोज आपने दूसरा भी बीच में कहीं पे कर्टेलमेंट कर दिया तो आपको 3 बार मिले। सो 3 बार मिले तो यहाँ पे ये पॉइंट पे फिर से आपको देखना है सेक्शन पे, तो ये सेक्शन पे टॉप पे कितना है 4, हाफ कितना हुआ 2, तो नीचे एटलीस्ट 2 होने चाहिए, कितने हैं 3, तो इट इज सेटिस्फाइड। At exterior joint, the anchorage length calculation shall consider this bottom steel to be tension steel. ये हम देखेंगे at the time of calculation that what should be the anchorage length. Anchorage length means ये लेंथ यहाँ से यहाँ तक गई, फिर इसको आपको यहाँ से ऊपर करना है, तो जी ये जो आपने एडिशनल लेंथ प्रोवाइड की है कॉलम एज से लेके यहाँ ऊपर तक, यहाँ से यहाँ तक का, इसको बोलते हैं एनकरेज लेंथ। वो कितना प्रोवाइड करना है वो भी हमें चेक करना होता है। देन longitudinal steel in beams at any section on top or bottom face shall be at least 1/4 of longitudinal steel provided at the top face of the beam at the face of the column. So this is also one of the clause के जो भी आप लॉन्जिट्यूडनल स्टील प्रोवाइड करते हो, लेंथ वाइज जो भी स्टील टॉप या बॉटम में प्रोवाइड करते हो, वो कितना होना चाहिए, तो वो होना चाहिए कि कॉलम के फेस पे आपने जो टॉप के रेनफोर्समेंट डाले हैं उसका 1/4 होना चाहिए। कॉलम के फेस पे जो आप सपोज ये ऊपर है, तो ये जो ऊपर डाला है उसका 1/4 उतना तो रेनफोर्समेंट आपका टॉप और बॉटम में होना चाहिए। इसका 1/4 मतलब 4/4 1, तो 1 फुल रेनफोर्समेंट थ्रू आउट द लेंथ आपका रहना चाहिए, 1 फुल लेंथ, एक से ऊपर कर्टेल नहीं करना है, मतलब एक तो एटलीस्ट आपका थ्रू आउट जाना चाहिए। Then when the top longitudinal steel in beam at two supporting column faces is different, the larger of the two shall be considered. मतलब अगर आपने दो अलग अलग डायामीटर के बार लिए हैं तो ये क्लॉज के हिसाब से मतलब ये अगर दोनों टू सपोर्टिंग कॉलम में डिफरेंट है तो जो लार्जर है उसके रिलेटेड जो भी आपको नंबर्स आते हैं वो आपको फॉलो करना है। देन दिस 6.2.5 at an exterior joint top and bottom bars of beam shall be provided with anchorage length beyond the inner face of the column. कितना इक्वल टू डेवलपमेंट लेंथ ऑफ बार इन टेंशन प्लस 10 टाइम्स बार डायमीटर माइनस द अलाउंस ऑफ 90 डिग्री। ये हम जब एग्जांपल में आपको कराऊंगी दैट एट दैट टाइम आई विल शो यू, बट द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस स्टेटमेंट इज कि ये एंकरेज लेंथ कितना होना चाहिए, ये जो मैंने बताया वो, तो उसके लिए ये दिया है, ये कितना होना चाहिए डेवलपमेंट लेंथ, तो एल डी लेंथ of the bar plus 10 times bar diameter plus 10 times bar diameter 10d minus the allowance 90 degree allowance। तो ये इक्वेशन से आपको एंकरेज फाइंड करनी है। सो ये हम देखेंगे एट द टाइम ऑफ एग्जाम्पल। सो दिस इज द एंकरेज लेंथ दैट यू नीड टू एटलीस्ट प्रोवाइड एट द एक्सटीरियर जॉइंट, एक्सटीरियर मतलब एंड का जॉइंट, ये ऐसा, तो ये x मतलब यहाँ से फेस ऑफ द कॉलम से लेके ये जो बार यहाँ से टॉप से बॉटम में गया तो ये कितना एक्सटेंड होना चाहिए, सेम वे नीचे का जो बार है वो भी कितना एक्सटेंड होना चाहिए। दिस इज कॉल्ड द एंकरेज ऑफ लॉन्जिट्यूडिनल बार्स। ठीक है, तो ये भी हमें देखना है। राइट, देन more clauses are given for the splicing of longitudinal bars. If the length of the beam is more than your standard size, standard length of steel bar, then you need to extend your one bar with the other bar to make a full alignment of your beam. तो उसको जो दो बार को आप ओवरलैप करते हो, that two bar is known as overlapping bar. Splicing करते हो, again this kind of splicing or the curtailment, तो वो कितना होना चाहिए, so that clause is given 6.2.6. then यहाँ 6.3 पे ट्रांसवर्स रेनफोर्समेंट मतलब स्टीरअप कैसे प्रोवाइड करना है उसका क्लॉज दिया है, द 6.3 क्लॉज, पूरा 6.3 का क्लॉज, राइट। और उसके बाद ये डिटेलिंग का फिगर भी ड्रॉ किया हुआ है। सो अप टू दिस, सो अप टू 6 क्लॉज इज योर बीम डिजाइन एज पर 13920 code, but yes, the preliminary design by IS 456 must having with you, तो आप उसका कंपैरिजन विथ 13920 कोड से कर सकते हो, राइट। सो दिस लैब स्प्लाइसिंग क्या है, यहाँ पे कपलर लिखा है, मैकेनिकल कपलर, वेल्डेड स्प्लाइसेस, राइट, एंड ट्रांसवर्स रेनफोर्समेंट, दिस ऑल वी विल सी इन नेक्स्ट लेक्चर।